Alana and Jaylo. I have heard of the Jets, but I'm not really too familiar with their work, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I know this is a side note because we're talking about this the whole hour, or however long we record this. So the Jets are a group from Minnesota. They are a family. They're like, the kids are half German and half Tongan. And they were really, really popular in Hawaii. And they were like this popular 80s and I think into the early 90s, really popular.
Which one of their big songs?
You Got It All is one. Crush on You is one of their biggest hits. Maybe I'll get Miss A to play some first.
Why don't you sing along?
No.
Okay.
I'm not going to.
Oh.
They don't want to hear my singing.
I do.
Not now.
But anyways, you're saying about the Jets.
Yeah. I do like their songs. Yeah.
I'm going to have to check them out.
Yeah, well, we can do it even later after...
after this?
After what we're listening to, yes.
Yes. So, I understand that you left town for a while.
I did.
After a botched bank robbery.
A botched bank robbery?
Is that what happened, or am my notes incorrect?
No, I think you have a very, very strange imagination. And there was no bank robbery.
That's not what my imaginary friends tell me.
They think I robbed a bank?
Yes.
How much money do you think they robbed, that they think I robbed?
$80 billion from one bank. But why don't we hear your version of why you were out of town?
No, I went to go visit my family in Washington.
How did that go?
North. It was nice. It was really nice. I left on the 22nd, and I came back on the 31st of July.
What's it like being the only blind person in a family, and you're a visitor there now, so it's not like if you have a conflict, you can just go back to your home?
Well, I don't feel any different than I felt when I was living with my family or living around them. It's just harder because I can't just go to somebody's house, go to my aunt and uncle's house or my sister's house because I'm out of state. And sometimes if I need something, there's nobody in my family around to help me with something, so I kind of have to depend on other people to help with whatever it is.
You mean when you're here in Portland?
Yes. Yeah.
But what's it like going back and maybe not using the kitchen, or I don't know, I'm assuming you didn't cook a lot when you were there.
I didn't cook at all.
Okay.
At all. I liked it only because I don't get to have my family's food very much. And there's nothing like home-cooked meals for my family. And I knew that it wasn't going to last very long, but I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the food that I had. It's like some of my favorite stuff that I grew up with. It's comfort food to me. Does that answer your question at all?
It kind of does, but let me revisit this in a different way.
Okay.
Is it weird being the blind person there?
No. No more weirder than it was when it wasn't really weird. I was used to that already since I was a kid.
But when you're going there, you're on the train.
Mm-hmm.
Is there ever a moment when you're thinking, I got to deal with this thing that my family does, and it's because I'm blind? Or did that not even enter your perception?
I don't think about that until after it happens, or when it's happening. I don't think a lot of negative stuff about my family when I'm going to see them, because I enjoy spending time with my family, because I don't get to see them very much. I only see them like 2-3 times a year now. And they worry about me quite a bit, so...
How does that make you feel?
In some ways, I feel... it's nice to know that people care about me because it's, I would rather have people care about me than not. But in other ways, I feel it gets a little bit irritating. Because just because I don't have a vehicle that I use, they have to know, if I'm traveling somewhere, they have to know where I'm going. They have to know how I'm going to get there. And they have to know when I get there, that I'm okay. Which is fine, but they worry like 10 times more because I can't see and I can't drive. That's what really irritates me.
Yeah.
And just the little things that they worry about, like if I'm going to go out of state to see somebody, how am I going to find them at the airport? Well, you shouldn't be worrying about that because I'm the one worrying about it.
Yeah, it's your problem, not theirs.
It's not, yeah, and sometimes my mom will ask me questions like, so when you get to Portland, are you going to ask for help? And this is like general stuff, like, and I love my mom very much. This isn't to bash my mom or anything, but there are times where she worries so much, like, well, when you get to Portland, are you going to ask the car, the red cab to help you get to the station? Which, yes, of course I'm going to do that. I'm going to make sure that they get me to where I'm supposed to be. And they did. And
you already knew to do that. So why is your mom asking it? Is it what I imagine you're thinking?
She knows that because I've traveled so many times on trains and a couple times on planes recently, that's something that I have to deal with. And I don't need extra coaching from my family. Or I don't need that much assistance from my family if I got it.
In the moment, when your mom is saying this to you, how do you react?
I just try to be polite as possible because, I'm just like, Mom, I ask for help. I don't get scared. And, because sometimes she'll say, oh, don't be scared of the people. I'm like, Mom, I'm not scared. If I was scared, I wouldn't leave my house. At all. I wouldn't be traveling at all. I wouldn't be making plans to go on trips or anything like that. But I think, she just does it because she has peace of mind that I'm okay. Which, I get it, but sometimes it's a little bit too much. And even for my aunt, my aunt actually worries more than she does.
How does that make you feel?
It can get very, very frustrating because she worries about things that hasn't even happened yet, Even with me, trying to find a place and wanting to venture out and live somewhere else in the city, she just can't fathom that. She doesn't want to think about it. She'd rather I be in a safe area where they know that I'm safe, but that's not always a good thing.
And nobody ever fully knows if you're safe because anything can happen to you. But there are safer areas.
Yeah, there are safer areas, and I wouldn't be living in a place that I didn't think was safe. Because safety is very important to me too. And I wouldn't be going out at night by myself. That's just not smart, right?
Right. Although I have done that before, but it's also different for me because I am a man.
Yeah, and I don't like that there's a double standard. I mean, I've got two things against me. I'm a woman and I'm blind, right?
3 things. You're also a Republican.
Okay.
Sorry, that was just a joke, babe.
That's not very nice.
Sorry. I wanted to add a little bit of laughter into the conversation. But no, you do have the 2 things going against you.
Right. And it's sad that it's what it is. It's sad that that's what it is. That women are more vulnerable to attacks than men are. You think that's right?
Oh, I don't even think there's really a question about it.
Yeah.
I'd much rather be a man and leave my house than be a woman.
That's why I feel safe walking with you in the city or in your neighborhood because I know that I'm going to be fine. I wouldn't be doing it by myself at night, but if you or another man was with me walking around the neighborhood, I'm okay. I know I'll be okay.
That's good.
Yeah, because at least somebody will be available should something happen to me, and they can see it or whatever, do something about it.
Jump in.
Jump in, yeah. Jump in and help.
Take off my clothes, reveal the Superman outfit underneath my regular garments.
You're going to be a young Clark Kent.
Fly through the air. Use my laser vision on the people who are trying to attack you.
Right. Hey, that would be cool.
That would be a lot of fun.
That would be fun if you could do that. If you had superpowers and you could be Superman or whatever superhero you wanted to be.
Did I ever tell you I was thinking, this was like right after I moved back to Portland, and I never did it because I realized how much time it would take.
Yeah.
I thought of the idea of writing a book about a young blind detective who figures out all these mysteries, and his secret isn't that he has super hearing or that he's great at smelling things. His secret is that he's really detail-oriented, and that's how he solves a crime. And the people around him just miss little things because they're not paying that much attention. But that's his only superpower, is that he's really, really good at little details.
And from the blind people that I've grown up with and been around, I've noticed that a lot of them are very, very receptive to details.
Okay.
Whether it's sound, smells, tastes, not just because they use it a lot.
Well, I'm thinking more like little details. So
Little details of mysteries? Like, give me an example here.
So, for example, let's say in this blind detective series, which is, I'm probably never going to write it. The guy pretty much just wants to stay at home, watch movies, hit on girls, hang out with friends, but he keeps getting involved in all these mysteries. So he goes to check out these mysteries, and the police, give him a whole bunch of information, and he's like, well, wait a second, what about that restaurant that the murder victim was at the night before? Did you guys go and check that out? No, we never thought about it. It's like details like that. It isn't like he smells something that smells different. It isn't that he hears something from the neighbors. It's that he just notices details when people are talking that other people just brush aside. And that's how he's able to solve the mystery. But the joke is, whenever he solves a mystery, people always attribute it to his blindness. So not only is he like a lazy person, but he doesn't want to solve mysteries because people just think that he can do it because he has a disability. So he's forced to solve these mysteries even though he hates doing it.
I think that would be kind of, you should write these things down. I think that would be like a really, if you didn't write the book, it would be like a really good idea for a screenplay or a movie or something. I think it would be really cool. You should write these down.
I wanted to do that for a while. It seems to me like it would take a lot of time to research it and put it into fruition. That would be so cool
because you have so many good ideas.
Oh, thanks, babe.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. I mean, I would have never thought of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I could come up with something creative, but I mean, that's really creative.
And again, I've had this idea for like 7 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. The Blind Detective.
Yeah.
That's just a prototype name. It would probably be something different because it's meant to be for people who are a little bit younger. And again,
like high school age?
No, like maybe high school to young adult, high school to
high school to like in the
30.
20s and 30. Okay.
Yeah, and it's he can figure out these mysteries. He's good at details, but he's also very lazy. He also just wants to stay at home or just wants to go out and hang out with friends.
Right.
So there's all these different aspects to his character.
Oh, that's such a cool idea.
Oh, thanks, babe.
I really think you should write them down and compile them, and because. You never know, you might meet somebody in the film world, since you're so much into film, and, they may talk to you about blindness, and you're like, you know what, I've been trying to pitch this idea. You never know. I think you should write them down.
I might do that.
Yeah, I think you should. I highly, highly, highly suggest that you do that.
It's definitely something to consider.
Yeah.
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 I saw a really good film that I think I told you about. The film Coco.
Yeah, she told me about
Have you watched it yet?
No, I haven't watched it yet, but I'm thinking maybe I should.
It's on Netflix right now. So typically I don't like kids' movies.
Yeah.
Maybe I should rephrase that. I don't watch a lot.
You don't watch... See, you don't know what kind of movies you would like because you don't watch a lot of them, though. There are some good kids movies out there that are classics.
This is only the second Pixar film I've seen.
Yeah.
The first was the original Incredibles movie.
I did like that.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the Toy Story movies
the
or
Toy Stories
Cars.
The Toy Story movies are fun. I didn't watch the Cars one much. I think I watched part of it, but I was really into Toy Story.
I will say I did really enjoy The Incredibles.
Yeah, I only saw the first one, I think. I don't remember seeing the second one.
The second one is on Netflix right now.
Yeah.
I gotta say, though, I sat down and watched this movie, Coco, just because I was bored and people always tell me, oh, you should watch some kids' movies. What's wrong with you? So I thought I was going to watch it for like 5 minutes and give up on it. But it was a really, really powerful movie. I very much enjoyed it, and I think it might be one of the best kid movies I've ever seen.
You got to watch Moana. I know you probably heard of it, or maybe you haven't.
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
I think you would enjoy it. And also because since we have connections to the Polynesian islands, particularly one, I thought that was great that Disney has finally made a movie about Polynesian folklore. That
is pretty cool.
And I think you'd like it. I really do. Yeah, there's a girl that plays the main character who's from Hawaii. And a lot of the people that play the voices are all from Polynesian islands, like New Zealand, Hawaii. The Rock is in it. He plays the voice of Maui.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think you would like it. I think it would be really enjoyable for you to watch.
Yeah, because the last Disney movie I watched was probably Beauty and the Beast when it first came out.
Yeah.
So I don't really watch a lot of those types of films.
No. You got to give some of these things a chance because there are some that came out maybe a few years ago, or the classics that are really good. I mean, that's why they're classics. I personally like Beauty and the Beast, the original one. I don't think they should have remade it into a live-action movie, just like I think that The Lion King should not have been remade because it was good the first time. The first movie was, of course, the best.
I've heard good things about The Lion King.
Yes. I heard that it's doing really good in the box office right now, the live-action one. But I have my doubts that I would like it. I don't know.
Because you have such fond memories of the original?
Yeah, I saw the original the day after it came out in theaters with my friend. Because we were just looking forward to seeing it. It was so good. And then I went with my family to see it. And I really enjoyed it. That's like one of my favorite Disney movies of all time.
And both your sisters enjoyed it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Uh-huh. It was like one of the biggest movies of the summer.
I remember it was that and like Forrest Gump that year.
Yes.
Were the two big movies.
It was the two biggest movies of that summer. In 94.
That was an interesting year for filmmaking.
Yeah.
Because you had family films like those two, and then you had...
No, Forrest Gump was not a family film.
Forrest Gump is a total family film.
No, there's some stuff in there that kids shouldn't be watching.
There's some adult stuff, but it's PG-13.
That's why children shouldn't be watching it under 13.
You don't think so?
With an adult.
You don't think that there's good messages in that movie?
No.
About striving, working on goals, yet letting life take its course and going along with the flow at the same time.
If a child ever watched it, they should watch it with an adult.
I don't necessarily disagree with that.
Okay.
So, you have Jenny.
Yeah.
It's implied that she's raped by her father, right?
Yeah.
And she goes down this bad road.
Yeah.
But her life falls apart.
Yes.
Unfortunately, she dies young at the end of the movie.
Well, don't forget, too, that somehow she always ends up, finding Forrest again. Right. Forrest was like, in the movie, of course, because I never read the book, because I don't think I want to read it.
There are similar aspects, like in the book, they keep on finding each other, too.
Okay, but I think that in the movie, it's always a recurring theme where Forrest was always her safe haven. When everything was falling apart, Forrest always took care of her.
So that's what I was just about to say. So, Jenny leaves this wild lifestyle, and you don't want kids to emulate Jenny.
Yeah.
But, again, she dies at the end of the movie.
Yes.
And who's her rock? It's Forrest.
It's Forrest, yep.
Forrest, the dependable guy.
Yeah.
Forrest, who showed up from military training. Yep. Forrest, who saved his platoon.
Yep.
Or most of his platoon.
Yep.
Forrest, who was concentrated on starting a business for the love of his friend, Bubba.
Yep.
And so you have Forrest, who's the hero of the movie.
And the ping pong stuff, too.
Right. He's the hero of the movie because he keeps showing up.
Yep.
He's not into drugs. He's not into alcohol. He's just into doing the work and showing up and trying to be the best he can be despite his learning disability.
And trying to play baseball.
Baseball?
Was it baseball?
It was football.
It was football, I'm sorry. And they said, Forrest, run home.
Right.
Okay.
But you don't think that there's a good message in...
No, there is.
Okay.
It's just, I think that there's a lot of adult themes in there, and I don't know. I don't know if I would call it a family movie unless it was actually made for TV.
Wow, we disagree on this because I totally see Forrest
Because I've
Gump.
watched a lot of family movies, too.
Right.
I watched a lot of kids' movies, and I think there has to be some decorum.
I don't think it's for like 5 and 6-year-olds, but
No.
I'd say from 8 on, it's probably a good movie.
Okay.
What do you think
Maybe. I don't know about the 8 on. I mean, I did watch it with the one time I watched the whole thing. I did watch it with a little girl that was about 8.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And how did she react to the film?
I don't know. She was just telling me some things that were going on. And things that she knew that was bad.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. But I am very fond of that movie. I do like that movie.
In your estimation, it's not a family film, so let me ask you this.
Right.
Outside of The Lion King and Beauty and the Beast, what are 3 great family films that might be like the greatest of all time in your opinion?
Oh. I think Simon Birch is one of my favorite ones.
I have seen that. That actually is a pretty
That
good
is a good movie. It's sad, but it's very good. And there were some funny things to it.
He kills somebody in that movie, but...
No, that was an accident. No,
That's what
he
RJ
felt
said.
really
Allegedly.
terrible. He cried afterwards. He didn't
That's what
think.
RJ said, allegedly.
Stop it.
Keep going.
Don't make fun of my movie.
Okay, go ahead.
Simon Birch was a good movie. Let me think. There's so many. Minus Disney.
Well, minus The Lion King and Beauty and the Beast, because
Actually,
we already talked about that. So
actually,
you can say another Disney film if you want.
Okay. The Fox and the Hound. It's a really old classic movie. I think it might have been made in the... I don't know when that was made, actually, but it's one of my favorite movies to see when I was a kid. You ever seen The Fox and the Hound?
I might have seen it when I was really little. I don't remember seeing it, though.
Yeah. So The Lion King, The Fox and the Hound, let me think of another.
Simon Birch, Fox and the Hound. The Lion King
I'm sorry.
is also in there.
The Simon Birch, The Fox and the Hound, and let me think of another one. And Babe.
I've heard a lot of good things about
Babe is another one. And it does have some messages in there that's really good for kids.
How bestiality is wrong.
Come
Wrong,
on.
I said wrong.
No, it doesn't even talk about that.
Oh.
It talks about sheep and sheepdogs getting along with pigs. Or, I'm sorry, sheeps and dogs getting along.
Interesting.
Is that right? Sheepdogs and sheep... It's about animals getting along and trying to figure out how to get along. And also, a pig learning, finding his way in his life after he lost his mother. And he had a friendship with the farmer that his wife wanted to cook, but he didn't end up doing that. He took care of the pig.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a good movie. See, I gave you 3 good family films.
You did.
Yes.
So far, I think that Coco is one of the best family films I've seen. But I also liked Forrest Gump as a family film. So.
There's so much more that you haven't been introduced to.
So is Beauty and the Beast your favorite Disney movie?
One of them.
Okay.
But The Lion King is one of the top movies that I do like. Yes, The Lion King is one of my favorite ones. Absolutely.
I'm going to have to check these out at some point.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You should.
Well, I will be getting the Disney streaming services.
Yep.
Mainly for The Simpsons and National Geographic.
Oh, wow.
But I'll probably check out some of the other stuff.
Yeah. I may try that too once you're on it. Yeah. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
Once I'm on it, you'll try it.
Well, I want to know if you like it.
Oh,
first.
okay. Yeah.
And I'm not going to just try something if you don't like it. Is that fair?
That's fair. That's fair.
I want firsthand knowledge of what you like and don't like about it.
I'm excited about it, but we got to see if it works too.
Yes.
We don't want to sign up for a service and then it crashes every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But Disney's actually pretty good at putting out decent products to their consumers. So I think it's going to be halfway decent.
Well, meanwhile, I've been watching on Stars, but I've been watching I'm well into the Different Strokes show now.
How are you feeling about it now that you're watching it with an older person's perspective?
They had some pretty heavy-hitting shows, heavy-hitting episodes. A lot of the shows were based on racism. And some of the shows are based on dating and unplanned pregnancy.
Really?
There was one episode that was about unplanned pregnancy.
His daughter got pregnant on the show, and so was it Willis or Arnold offered to give her an abortion?
No, stop ruining it for me.
What happened then?
Kimberly's friend found out that she was pregnant, but
By
she
Arnold.
didn't. No.
Okay, go ahead.
Stop it.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
Okay, you better. Kimberly's friend Ellen and her father came to visit the Drummonds, and she finds out and tells Kimberly that she's pregnant because they go to the doctor. Her and Kimberly go to the doctor, and the boys are thinking Kimberly's pregnant, but she's not. And Ellen, her friend, doesn't want to tell her dad, but her dad ends up finding out. But they wrap it up in a nice little bow at the end, and he says that they're gonna work it out together.
Although in real life, she left the show because she was pregnant.
Yes, Dana Plato left the show because she was pregnant. No, was she fired?
I heard she was fired.
She was fired because it was they at the time, and this is like in 1984ish. I think it was still where family sitcoms were still prevalent, and they wanted to keep the family feel of the movie, so I guess that's why she was fired. Yeah, and she got pregnant.
How do you think that it should have been handled that way?
I think at the time that's how they decided to do it. I don't really. I mean, it would have been great if she stuck it out for the last 2 seasons. The last 2 seasons of the show, but I think they did what they had to do, and she was already doing some pretty sketchy things too.
Yeah,
behind the scenes. I mean, she was into drugs and
she was giving blowjobs to Todd Bridges. She was. He talked about it in his book.
Yes, I know, but you have
Willis.
to mention this on the episode.
Well, I mean, you could go read his book, Killing Willis.
I think you should have this part.
What is that?
Well, what if my family comes on it?
Comes on. You already talked about your mom for like 10 minutes, babe.
No. I mean, what if my family comes upon this episode?
But you already talked about your mom for 10 minutes. My feeling is that they would have tuned off by the talk about your mom. Does your family listen to this?
No.
Okay.
They haven't.
Uh-oh.
I don't believe that. They have. No, they have not.
I hope not. And if they do listen, I just want to say, I know that some of the stuff I say is offensive, but I'm just reading from the script that Alana gave me.
There is no script. This is completely impromptu.
I would want to believe that.
No, I don't write scripts. We don't have scripts.
Anyways, sticking to the script, Alana.
Podcasts don't have scripts.
Well, some do.
Okay, some do. Maybe some do.
I'm just reading off the
Crime
script.
podcasts.
I'm just reading off the script I was given earlier today.
I didn't write a script.
I normally do not say anything offensive.
Yes, you do.
To your loved one.
You don't. Sometimes you don't have a filter.
I have a pretty good filter.
Well, sometimes you do. Yes.
Sometimes I do.
There are people that don't.
But I do.
I will say, in comparison to those people, you do have a filter.
Thank you.
Okay, I will give you that.
Thank you. So,
Anyway.
Speaking of filters, speaking of speech,
Yes.
speaking of scripts, all that stuff,
Yes.
art,
Yes.
poetry can be a form of script if it's written down and memorized.
Yes.
We had a very racist open mic experience a few weeks ago.
Yeah, that was not a good experience for the both of us. I loved some of the poetry.
Yeah.
I loved a lot of the poets were really good in both of those readings, and there were some that I didn't agree with, but that's okay. It's free expression.
So maybe we should back up.
Yes.
I think it was 3 weeks ago today. It was before your trip.
Yep.
I wanted to go to this poetry reading at the library. And I had read online that it was this open mic thing, so I was really excited to go. We go there and we find out that it is an open mic thing if you're black.
Yeah, that was very, very surprising. And you came back and said, well, I guess I'm not reading my poem.
But they phrased it, they did the white thing of saying African American, which makes me wonder if a South African person who was white came in there, would they be allowed to read a poem.
I don't like that either.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times that terminology has been used to race bait and also been used for identity politics.
It is. Because I know a lot, I have black friends, and I'm not saying this to brag because it's nothing to brag about. And if you know white people who brag about having black friends, you might want to check your friendships.
I know. Why would you do that?
But I don't think any of them say, Rick, I'm not black, I'm African American. I've never heard that from any of my black friends.
Some people just, I don't know. But you made a point the other day, right? Like, what kind of black are they? Are they black from England? Are they from the Dominican Republic or Brazil?
So if a Brazilian person came in there with really dark skin,
yep.
would they be refused to leave because it's an open mic for African Americans?
Mm-hmm.
Something tells me, and I don't know, but I'm assuming that they would be able to read.
Yes.
Anyways.
Yes.
This event happens.
Mm-hmm.
There's a break, and there's an open mic for Pacific Islanders.
Yep, Asian Pacific Islanders.
Yep, and we decide to wait for the next reading.
Oh, I have so much to say about that, yes.
Why don't you pick up the story, babe?
Okay. Everything was going fine. The poetry was really good. And then this girl comes up and decides to say something like this. She said, "Before I read my poem, I just would like to ask that any white person in the audience, specifically white men, not interrupt what I say, not interrupt me when I'm reading." And she just seemed like a very, very unhappy person.
She also said something to the effect of, "I don't do this for you." I think there were some expletives in there.
No, it wasn't.
There weren't expletives.
She said something about, like, I don't do this for blah, 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 and I will never be whatever. I'll never be something. I don't know what it was, but
yeah, I mean, it was a couple weeks ago, and we maybe sort of recorded right after, but we didn't because we're lazy.
Yeah.
But it was very incendiary language, despite our bad explanation of it.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was very racist. It was very sexist. It was very insulting to the both of us. And even though it was an Asian Pacific Islander reading, I still felt really out of place.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute, but...
Yes.
So the reading ends, we go out, and we kind of talk about this on the steps of the library.
Yeah.
And we should say that we had been there since, I don't know, 1 till around 5, or 12:30 till around 5, or 5:30.
It was actually at about 2, I think, right? 1 to 4? No, I'm sorry, it was 1.
No, it was 1 to like 5.
1 to 5.
But we got there a little bit early.
Yeah, we did. After we had some lunch.
And I didn't really check my phone or anything.
Yeah.
So, we talked about what happened with that poet. And I said to you that, 1, I don't know that poet's experience. And 2, I definitely, especially in my 20s, was guilty of going on stage and saying some things just for shock value, which doesn't make what she said right.
Right.
But I also do think that there should be a path to forgiveness.
Right.
Having said that, it was upsetting to hear. We hang out, we do our thing, you go home, I come home, and I'm still thinking to myself, maybe I read the description of the event wrong, because, what are you doing?
Where's the water? Oh, here.
I'm in the middle of something.
I'm sorry, I just was reaching for water because I was thirsty.
Thank you. So I'm still thinking to myself, maybe I read the description. I'll have some in a little while. Thank you for offering me water, though.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that...
What? It's fine.
Way to break the dramatic tension.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Go on. Go on.
All right. So
Don't pay attention to me.
Okay. Where was I? So... I got home, and I'm still thinking to myself, it's possible that I misread the description on the library's website.
Yeah.
And if they did advertise it as an open mic for African Americans, at one point for Pacific Islanders, I can disagree with that. Mm-hmm. But I can still respect that because as a person with a disability, I have hosted open mics for people with disabilities in the past.
Right,
And so maybe we... would have skipped the events, but it's my fault for not reading it correctly. Right. Then I get on the website, and it's described as an open mic for everyone. An all-inclusive open mic that
Right.
anyone is welcome to attend.
For families and teens.
And I believe you either called me or I called you when I was on the website.
You called me.
I called you.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I called you back.
Oh, you called me back.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I was doing something, yeah.
And I read the description to you. You came across the same reaction that this was clearly marketed to everybody
Yes.
and to families. So that made me feel 100 times worse.
I was really upset about that because, now that I think about it, since we found out fairly quickly at the, when we got there, I thought about it. I'm like, what? We could have just left.
We could have.
And I thought maybe we should, but I really wanted to hear some good poetry, and I didn't know what was going to happen. And I wanted to experience another poetry reading because I had, we went to the one last September, and that was really fun. I mean, it was a different kind of a vibe because there was older people.
It wasn't an open mic. It was these specific readings.
Specific readings, but it was a poetry reading no less. Right? It may not have been an open mic, but it was definitely a poetry reading. And I wanted to experience different poetry.
Yeah, and when I read the description on the website, I thought, the Multnomah County Library is promoting an all-inclusive event that excludes white people.
Right.
And possibly black Haitian people, but we don't know that.
Right.
For sure. That is just an assumption.
Yeah. But and I've said this before, I don't know if... I kind of wonder, should we then call the library before an event like this happens and see, if it really is all-inclusive?
I'm leaning towards doing that the next time I see it.
I think that would probably be a good idea. Just because, I don't know that I can blame the library for this. I think somebody in the organization messed up for sure.
Somebody is at fault. I don't know if it's a library staff member or part of the Bigfoot poetry reading series.
Yeah.
But somebody
royally messed up.
Yeah, because again, I was very pissed once I read that, and it would have been totally cool if it was advertised as an open mic for these specific people.
Yeah,
but when you advertise it is for everybody, then you piss me off because then I wasted my time going. And you switched. You switched. And let's say that you and I weren't hanging out that day, or even you and I were, and we decided to go to the reading knowing that.
Right.
Well, then at that point, we're open to hear different points of view. But if you trick people to going by misadvertising it, and you want them to be open to hearing your perspective, why should I hear your perspective? You've already lied to me to get me into the door.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't think that's right. And I don't know. I just kind of wonder if it would have been a better time if we left.
Yeah, we maybe should have.
Yeah, but I wasn't even thinking about it because I really wanted to hear some poetry.
I did too.
And that's exactly why we agreed to go to the library is to hear some poetry. But I don't like that they lied, and I was just as upset as you were. And the fact that we felt very insulted in the second reading. I feel a lot better about it now.
That we vented. And that I'm also working on some poetry about this.
Yes. Yeah. And it's I feel better about that situation now that we were able to talk about it and that we were able to share the point of view that we were both very, very upset about it, and that we will do something. We will do some things differently the next time an event like that happens.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
So, racism for all. Racism for all.
Yeah.
I hate screaming racism as a white guy, though, because.
Yeah, but you have a right to vent.
I have a right to vent, but I haven't experienced hardcore racism. Right. It's just this and maybe a few other.
But
things.
this was just something I never thought I would experience. I don't know.
It's strange.
I know that I shouldn't be surprised because a lot of that stuff goes on in several cities, but I just never thought that it was going to happen to us.
Well, you're also not exactly white either.
No, I know that. What I mean? I know that, but it affects me too. The last time I'm not going to really get into that. I'll have to tell you about that later.
That's fair.
I think we've talked about it before. I'll just mention I won't go into too much of it.
Go ahead.
But
You
the
can keep
last
names out of it, but keep
But
going.
the last time I remember experiencing something that was close to being racist, which was when I was dating somebody at the time that had this idea about my family. Just because he felt like, and this really had nothing to do with his skin color at all. He felt like my family wasn't really giving him a chance, but it had nothing to do with his skin color.
But he thought that it was.
He thought my sister wasn't giving him a chance because of his skin color. It wasn't because of his skin color, it was because of his attitude. And he admitted to me that his mother and father harbored some deep-seated racist attitudes. And I think he did too.
This is another reason why I don't like playing the race card as a white person.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of white people who already do that, and it's just it's kind of to do what your ex did. It's to distract from the fact that they're actually racist.
Yeah. But would you agree though, that, there are some white people that are so afraid to say anything about any minority because they're going to be, they're afraid that they're going to be deemed racist. Would you agree?
There's absolutely that contingent.
I mean, if you think about the other side of it, and you hear people that say things like, I don't see color, I treat people the same way, and they probably, they probably do, but would you agree that they are so afraid now? Because a lot of people, not a lot, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say a lot, some people are very, very, very racially sensitive.
Absolutely.
Would you agree?
Absolutely, and a lot of white people are racially sensitive too. And this really got me thinking about PC culture in Portland.
Yeah.
Which I've been trying to ignore. Like I'm a big Joe Rogan fan, and he talks about it a lot.
I can't tell. I can't
it.
tell you how refreshing that sounds to me, because I don't like PC culture at all.
I don't like it either, but I've always realized that it is a thing.
Yeah.
But I've in my head I've kind of associated it with like white nationalists who no longer use the term racist; they just use the term white nationalist. Or
I know.
Well,
what about on the other spectrum?
Go ahead.
Okay. Would you agree with me that there are several minorities out there, not just in the black community, but in other communities like the Asian community, a few, some Hispanic communities? Would you say that the ones that are, and we talked about this several times, the ones that scream racism against them by white people, would you say that it's also wrong for them to be racist against those people as well?
I think racism in any form is wrong.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay. But would you agree that there is also a lot of racism going on in minority communities as well?
There's racism going on in pretty much every community.
Pretty much, yeah.
Which is interesting. So I attended a dismantling racism seminar a while ago. This was...
Oh, did you tell me about that one?
I did tell you about that. It was like right after we met, though.
Yeah.
And the facilitator said...
Was this over here?
It was something... I don't want to get into where it is right now.
Okay, that's fine.
But the facilitator said something to the effect... And he wasn't saying that this was the case.
Yeah.
He was saying that a lot of people say this. So I don't want to mix up his words.
Okay.
But he said that a lot of people think that if you're not white, you can't be racist because your anger isn't coming from a place of power. Yeah. I disagree with that. I think that you can still be racist and be black.
I totally agree with you.
Having said that,
yes,
there are a lot of white racists, and a lot of bad things have come about because of white racists.
Yeah.
So both sides have to be considered.
Yeah, but I do think, and I have been noticing that there are white people out there that really do want to do good, and they don't want to seem prejudiced, but they're so scared, and it's not just for skin color too, it's also for disabilities as
what do you
well.
mean?
Well, I mean, for example, some people don't want to talk about people with disabilities. They'll say things like differently abled people.
I hate that term.
Or I know, I don't like it either. I think it's way too PC. Or like visually impaired has become a really PC term. It's like, okay, if you're totally blind, you're also, you're blind, right? I've never agreed with the term visually impaired. I think it's way too, or some people will say sight impaired, sightless, whatever it is, hard of hearing instead of deaf. Because they're not.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying now. It's all this terminology.
Very terminal, yeah.
But you're kind of saying the same thing anyway.
Yes.
So this experience has definitely got me thinking more about PC culture, and I'm kind of thinking that maybe Portland is too PC.
Hey, you know what?
What's that?
I just thought of something.
Tell me.
Maybe we should think about doing some comedy around PC stuff.
Oh, we're definitely going to do that. Well,
yeah.
I mean, just a skit that we were talking about the other day,
Uh-huh.
where we satirized the open mic situation with you going to an open mic and finding out that it's for Rick's only.
Oh, that would be funny. That would be funny.
You know, check your non-Rick privilege, and
Yeah.
you know, you don't have the stress of being a Rick.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that the whole privilege thing, the whole white privilege, and I think that's just completely gone overboard. I think I know what you're getting
perplexed for this because there is benefits to being white, but it's not like because I was born white I never have to do anything and I have service.
That's what these people that are screaming white privilege are saying. Like,
some of them are.
Some of them are.
But not every one of them.
But I just don't. But a lot of the people that are doing that are more privileged than the average white person.
Some of them are.
Some of them are. I'd say all. But they're the most privileged, and why? Like I'm not going to mention her name. A certain person in Congress, I'll say. She actually said something to the effect of, I will talk to young white women and explain to them what white privilege is. And I'm like, why should they listen to you? I mean, I really get irritated when I hear something like that. And I'm not even a white person either. I mean, you know what I mean? I don't know.
It is interesting to me.
It's very interesting. I just think it's been used for the identity politics thing. Just to racially divide people. And I don't like it.
I'm starting to lean in that direction a little bit, but I also think to discount everybody from that movement is also ignorance. So I'm still figuring out my way with that.
Okay,
yeah,
that's fair.
But I'm not going to, just start rocking a Confederate flag or, say I'm a white nationalist now because I'm definitely not.
No.
So both sides are crazy.
That's white.
I gotta be somewhere in the middle, okay?
Okay. Here's something to talk about.
Tell me.
I don't know if you want to bring this up, and
Go
we don't
ahead.
have to talk about it. Would you like to talk about the incident that happened to us after the Blues Festival, or do you want to skip it?
We can definitely talk about it. And so there's a little bit of conflict between me and Alana on this one.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, I think I'm right. She thinks I'm kind of wrong.
Well, I came up with a better idea to
You
handle
did.
it.
It took you a month to come up with a better idea, but you finally came up with one, yes.
Well, I had some time to think.
I didn't have any time to think.
You didn't have any time to think because you weren't thinking.
We got to put this in popular perspective.
Right.
In perspective, not popular perspective.
Yes.
So, after the Blues Festival, we're hanging out, we're waiting for Alana's ride, and we get into this conversation about bullying in schools. We're both of the opinion that kids need to learn to stand up to bullies. In this episode, I'm coming off as such a conservative.
Oh, there's still hope for you then. Go on.
There's still hope for you. But we're both of the opinion that kids need to learn to stand up to bullies. Right after that, this lady comes by and she says, too bad you're blind. You can't see how ugly your boyfriend is.
I thought that was very insulting.
And I
so
think
did
to
he.
myself, lady, I don't have a boyfriend. You're the one. But I also think to myself, let's ignore this. She's going to move on. She repeats it and gets a little bit closer. Then she repeats it for a third time, and she gets a little bit closer.
And how exactly close was she the third
She
time?
was about... The third time, she was maybe 2.5 yards away from where you're at right now.
Where I was standing.
Yeah.
And she was looking at the both of us.
Yes.
Okay.
So, I'm like, okay, let me show her something. So I take out my hands, I take out my middle finger, and I gently lift it and point it in her direction. And she tells me to go fuck myself. And she walks off.
Yeah, I think you should edit that one too.
No. Why?
Yeah. Well, you don't know who's listening. My family might actually find it.
But I haven't said anything I'm embarrassed with.
Uh-huh. Okay, go on.
And so we hug, and I may have said some derogatory language that we don't have to repeat now. And we start to get into it, and then I told you what I did because you didn't see it.
I didn't see. I didn't know about it until after we were on the phone.
Oh, that's right. Until after we were on the phone.
Yeah, and I was just like, "What happened? Why did she tell you that? What happened? I thought maybe she was pointing to your cane or something." And I'm just like, "What did you?" And then you're like, "Oh, you didn't know what happened." I said, and I was just like, "Why did you do that?"
And my feeling is that I had to stand up to a bully. And it doesn't mean that you can't feel compassion for a person, or that you should limit their path back to redemption, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it does mean that in that moment you got to stand up to a bully.
And I replied by saying, "I understand that, but 16-year-old boys give people the finger and 36-year-old men don't."
To which I replied to, "Okay, but tell me something else I could have done."
And then I thought for a moment, I've been thinking about this for a long time. I
Right.
said, "Okay, we could have tried to move away, but we couldn't do it at the time.
Exactly.
We could have gone into the 7-Eleven because that was right behind us.
By the way, she was kind of in between us and the door too. You should have also said that.
And I could have and I thought about this the other way is I could have opened the door. I could have gotten in front of you, opened the door, and pretend like I didn't even know she was there, and kind of.
That sounds something out of like an after-school special, babe. She was between.
Well, okay. I'm trying to explain here.
Right,
It might have been a good idea.
I just want to say that she was also between us and the door,
Yeah.
so we would have.
She was blocking the way then.
We would have definitely had to go past her to get to the door.
Well, and so anyway, I was thinking some more about this, and last night as we were talking, I said, "Oh, you know what? You know what we could have done?" And since she has decided to come up to us and insult us, we could just give her a show.
And I do think that is a better idea than what I did.
Yeah.
Having said that, the point is you had almost a month to think about it, and I had like 30 seconds to think about it. So we tried ignoring her. That didn't work. We couldn't really get out of the situation because we were waiting for your ride, which was already late, and
Yeah.
she was kind of blocking our way to the door.
Yeah.
I think in that situation, I still stand by what I did. That doesn't mean I'll do the same thing in the future. In the future, I'll do what you suggested. But given the amount of time I had to think about it, I think I did the right thing.
And I suggested that if a woman tried to start trouble with us, then I would jump in and try to see if I could diffuse it.
In the future, you're going to jump in and try to diffuse it.
I will try my best. I'm not the kind of person that likes to confront anyone, but if I had to, I will try my best to diffuse the situation and get the person away from us.
Even though I've already proven that I can do that, but we will let you handle it.
In the most immature way possible.
But
well, maybe not the most immature
No.
way, but it is. I thought it was immature.
there was no violence involved.
There wasn't any violence involved.
And
it was a very obscene gesture.
Right, but we should also, again, I want to reiterate this. We tried ignoring. We couldn't walk away from the situation because we were waiting for your ride, because she was between us and the door. So, I mean, I don't know, what did you want me to do? Like, look down and say, "I'm sorry, I'm so ugly, please go away." Like,
No, I didn't care. I knew that you weren't ugly.
right, but the fact of the
you know.
matter is this person is not only saying it, but they're moving closer. So at that point...
And I didn't know she was moving closer.
Right, but I did.
Yeah. Okay.
And I've since told you that, so now you know.
Okay. So I suppose, so if I know that you had some time, you weren't thinking about it.
And can I also say, again, we had just finished talking about the bullying situation, and you had just also, if I'm remembering correctly, agreed with me that kids need to learn to stand up.
Oh no,
to bullies.
absolutely. I still stand by that.
Right.
But what I'm trying to say
And I stood up to a bully non-violently.
What I'm trying to say is, had I known that she was getting closer to us, I probably would have understand why we couldn't really move out of the way, because I didn't know how far she was. I thought she left already.
But now that she left after I did my thing.
Yeah.
And she released a couple of obscenities on the way out.
No.
And I released a couple of obscenities that we don't have to repeat here. But knowing the situation a little bit more, would you agree that you may not agree with what I did, but you understand it a little bit
No,
more.
I understand it a little bit more. I guess now that you explained that she was getting, because you explained last night that she was getting closer.
Yeah.
I don't agree with what you did, but I understand why you would have to think of something really quickly. Even though I really think that, if it were a different situation, like if a guy did something, if a guy was trying to insult me, right, I would let you handle that. If it were a woman that was trying to insult you and me, or just me, or whatever it is, then maybe I could try my best to kind of jump in. And if I ever needed you to intervene, then I know you're going to intervene.
I just don't want to intervene and diffuse the situation and be like, I like the way I want you to diffuse it.
No, I wouldn't want you to correct me. Because you did it your way.
Which worked, by the way.
Well, okay, I have to admit, she did go away. You did it your way, but if it ever happens again, I suggest the giving the person a show. That would really irritate them, or me jumping in and trying to defuse it the way that I would want to defuse it and see if it works.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
But hopefully nothing
like this.
And hopefully nothing like that happens. But you meet some weird characters downtown.
And we should also say we were out late at night because it was right after the Blues Festival.
Right.
Which was an incredible day, that aside.
Yes, and we have talked about that. It was really, really fun.
Yes. And again, I still stand by what I did under the situation. Mm-hmm. Had it been a situation where we could have easily walked away, then no, I shouldn't have done that.
Right.
Had it been a situation to where I felt we could have ignored the person, then no, I shouldn't have done that. I should have.
Would you have done that if it was like a public area and there was a bunch of people and we could just easily avoid that person?
No, that's the whole thing. If we couldn't easily.
There's a bunch of people around. I mean.
Well, what's the situation? Can we still not walk away? Can we still...
No. I mean, like...
No, but you're saying there's people around, and I'm saying, is the situation there's people around and we can walk away?
That's what I mean.
Okay, if there's people around and we can walk away, then I don't need to do anything.
Right.
But this was a situation to where I felt the best thing to do was what I did at the time.
And there was only 3 of us in the general area.
Exactly. And again, we had just had a conversation about bullying.
Right. Right.
It was literally the minute before we'd wrapped up our conversation about bullying.
It certainly was. It was. But it definitely shocked us. But then there was another person that came by and gave us a compliment. After that, we were just insulted.
Yes.
Which I thought was a better ending to the night. So that was a better ending, and I felt better.
That was. And at least now I practice what I preach. I don't just say that kids should stand up to bullies.
No.
I'll also stand up to bullies too. And I also practice what I preach in that I'm not really a violent person. So I diffuse the situation in a non-violent way.
And I'm glad you're not a violent person.
No.
Yeah. No. Because that would have been bad.
No.
I'm not one either.
That's good.
I would be...
I question that sometimes with you.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't want you to hurt me, so I don't want to...
I'm not going to hurt you.
Okay, good.
Little me hurt you?
Okay, good.
No.
Uh-oh.
Absolutely not.
I just had this nightmare that one day they'll make a Lifetime television movie and it'll be like, she killed her boyfriend.
That happened to this girl in Arizona who we won't name. This girl that's in the Maricopa County facility for women.
Is that the one you were a fan of? That
I am not a fan of her. I'm not a fan of hers. No. That is totally different.
Okay.
I'm not a fan. I'm not going to write to this lady. I think she's crazy.
Okay, good.
She's about my size, but she actually hurt a bigger guy.
See, I don't want the Lifetime television movie of my life to be, he thought he was just dating a normal woman. She ended up killing him.
No, I am not a crazy person. Don't worry about it. I'm not gonna kill you just because...
They will play these tapes against you in court, babe. Just so you know.
Stop it. You're gonna get it for that. If you're gonna get it, you're gonna get it later.
See.
I don't mean it that way.
I just hope that there's no more
there's going to be...
at the end of the night.
No, it's not going to be violent.
Okay, good.
Maybe some tickles.
Oh.
I know you like those.
I do.
Tickles.
I'd like to be the one giving them.
I know you do.
Yes. But the point is, the situation isn't good.
Yes.
I was right. And, and by the way, again, it's also one of those situations, I was right to do that, and you can still have compassion for a person who does something like that, who approaches us. Not for me, for flipping the middle finger. But you could still have compassion and say that this person has obviously gone through some bad things in life to lead her to this point.
Mm-hmm. She probably needed an outlet to let off her steam, which was a really, really big mistake for her.
Right. You have a right to an outlet, but don't expect my face to be your safe space.
Hey, wow.
I am going to use that line in my poem.
I like that.
Don't expect my face to be your safe space. That's right.
I like that.
That's right. That's going to be in the poem.
You can't attack that.
Right.
You should not attack that, and don't attack the woman with that man either.
That's right.
Don't insult the woman with that man either.
That's right.
It's not right.
It's not right.
Not right.
That's not right. Okay.
Because now I know what to do. It's going to be a big mistake for them.
So you're the one who's like talking about vengeance, and I like instead of it.
Well, no. I'm not talking about hurting them per se, but
yeah.
You know what I mean.
I know.
They're gonna wish they never came and try to start anything. But I'll use words.
Okay, good.
No, I'm not gonna hit.
I can't decide whether the movie is going to be about me getting beaten to death by you, or it's going to be like...
Why are we talking about that again? I already confirmed...
Or, excuse me, dear.
What?
Or if it's going to be like the female modern-day version of Death Wish, to where somebody comes up and assaults us and you just, like, take revenge on the city. Like Charles Bronson did.
Oh, I don't... what movie was that?
Death Wish?
Death Wish.
It was this 1970s movie, so...
I don't think I saw that one.
Okay, it's a good movie, but it's one of those movies to where you gotta kind of suspend disbelief. The basic premise is Charles Bronson is this rich guy. Mm-hmm. His wife and daughter are celebrating at their apartment. Mm-hmm. These thugs break in, one of them who is played by Jeff Goldblum, and they kill the wife and they rape the daughter.
Oh, no.
The city says that they can't find the people who did this. Oh. So Charles Bronson, who's this clean-cut guy, decides to take revenge on all these criminals.
Wow.
And they made a couple sequels, but Death Wish is considered a classic revenge movie.
Wow.
And I don't know, is Alana Jaylo going to star in a remake of it in a couple years, to where somebody attacks her boyfriend and she just takes revenge on everybody?
No.
She goes to an open mic where they're attacking white people. She pulls out a bazooka.
I pull out a 380.
Yeah. And you're like, where is your justice in this city, okay? I want justice.
Yeah, that would be funny if I was talking like that and I had a gun out.
That's right.
Okay, everybody, put your hand up, okay?
Okay, hurry up.
Okay, everybody, hurry up.
Hurry up.
Yeah.
So I don't know what movie they're going to make out of this relationship.
And they laugh at me and I start shooting.
Right.
Okay, we're having fun with this.
We're having fun with
Anywho.
One last thing.
Yes.
You have finished The Art of Seduction.
Oh, finally, yes.
How do you feel about that?
I'm so glad I'm done with it, because that seemed like a really long book. It was like 24 chapters. Good grief. But it was good chapters. They were very good chapters. He had some really interesting insights.
Example.
Like, he said something like, if two people fall in love with each other, they're falling in love with the ideal person that they want to be. The ideal person. The ideal person that they are.
With their ideal person, or with the ideal person?
Their ideal person. Like
okay.
The ideal of them.
I'm still not sure I understand. Let me repeat it back.
Okay.
He's saying in the book that they're falling in love with the idealized version of themselves, or with the idealized version of their partner.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was it? The idealized version of themselves, I believe it was.
Interesting. Okay.
Or the idealized whatever is in that person. Yes, that is of themselves. Yeah. Yeah.
The idealized version of themselves.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know that I agree with that, but I thought it was kind of interesting. And how he was saying that if somebody tells you they hate their father or their mother, and they end up having children, because of what happened with their parents, they end up being the exact opposite of their parents, which might be some truth to that.
I've heard mixed things about that.
Might be some truth to it. Yes. they don't want to do what their parents did. They don't want to make the same mistakes. And so they'll parent the opposite way. I've seen it happen before.
That's good.
I've seen it happen before, so I think there might be some truth to that. I don't know about the idealized version of ourselves that we are in love with, and I don't know that I agree with it. But I thought it was kind of interesting. And how he says to keep your partner enchanted and keep them constantly guessing to kind of keep the affair alive or whatever it is.
Don't just stay at home and watch Pauly Shore movies after you sold them on this person who's like a globetrotter and successful human being.
Yes. But yeah, I'm glad that I'm done with the book and I'm ready to start a new one.
We're probably going to start Slimes.
Yay!
I worked with the author Matt Klickstein a number of years ago.
Yep, and he told me some good things about working with him.
Yeah, Matt's a cool guy. And we don't really keep in contact that much, but he is a cool guy.
But I grew up a Nickelodeon kid from as early as I can remember, and I used to watch Nick Jr. shows and cartoons and the old Nickelodeon game shows like Double Dare, which is the messiest game show on the network at the time, and it was done by Mark Summers, very good host. I was a big Nickelodeon fan. I was.
From what I remember, so the last time I hung out is such a weird word, but the last time I saw Matt in person, he was starting to work on the book, but it was before it had gone through proofreading. It was before he had finished his initial work writing the first draft.
Was that before you did the plays?
No, this was like the last day of the plays when I saw him in person.
Okay.
So we know each other because he directed a play that I was in.
Right,
I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
I believe he was also a big fan of Nickelodeon, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, I like that a lot of the shows, the game shows, like Wild and Crazy Kids was my favorite one. The kids were the hosts on that show, and the hosts were also on the teams that the other kids were in that were participating, and it just seemed like a really fun show. Yep.
Yeah, we're going to read Slimes.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yes.
It's going to be fun. And then I'm going to read some more heavier books afterwards.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, Alana, Jaylo, do you have anything else?
No.
All right.
We should talk about what we ate for lunch/dinner.
I don't remember. What did we eat, Alana?
We ate some really yummy pizza with olives, parsley, peppers.
Wait a second. We had parsley?
Oh, I'm sorry. We had pesto. And parsley was in the pesto.
Parsley was in the pesto.
And it was really, really good.
That's right.
And what kind of nuts did you use for the pesto?
These nuts. Sorry. That's from the Dr. Dre album, The Chronic.
Oh.
Anyways.
Okay.
Don't joke. Anyways, I forgot that they're like Parlin nuts, and they're kind of these sweeter nuts that I use when I make pad thai.
Yeah.
I put them in the sauce.
Yeah, it's good.
Really fun to eat.
It was very good. And it made the pesto taste sweeter.
And I've been experimenting at cooking pizza at higher temperatures, too.
Yeah. Yep. It turned out really, really good. And we had some leftover kombucha, some ice cold water.
Very good stuff. I want to make more kombucha, but you need kind of consistent weather, and Portland has been a little bit weird this summer.
Well, there is a summer thing that we can do for a dessert one night that I suggested, which you don't have to worry about it being hot outside. I think we should make some s'mores before the summer is over.
We can do that.
Yeah. Well, I could have s'mores any time of the year, as I've told you, but because this is the season for s'mores, we should do it.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
Yes.
Well, on to Jaylo.
Yes.
Is there anything else you wanted to say?
No, I think I am all talked out, at least for now.
Nice. Nice. To wrap it up.
Yes.
Some Disney movies are all right.
Yes.
Some family films are good.
Yes.
I have experienced racism. I have been right in a situation where I use my middle finger. I'm afraid about what type of movie this relationship will inspire. And we have had nuts in pesto that was on pizza.
That's an interesting wrap-up. Okay.
Do you like that?
I thought that was funny.
Thank you.
Especially in the middle part. Where you said you were right.
I was. You're to the right, but I'm right. And on that note, we should say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Until next time, everybody.
Till next time.
Until next time.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay.